Little-known facts about iconic foods around the globe. Food is more than just fuel. It's history, culture, and sometimes a story that spans centuries. From humble beginnings to global icons, some of the world's favorite dishes have fascinating origins that are anything but ordinary. Did you know pizza started as street food for the poor, or that sushi was invented as a way to preserve fish? Today, we're uncovering 10 lesser-known stories behind the world's most beloved foods. Get ready to see your favorites in a whole new light. 1. Pizza. Pizza as we know it, flatbread topped with tomato sauce, cheese, and various toppings, has humble beginnings in Naples, Italy, where it was street food for the working class. What's fascinating is that tomatoes, a key ingredient, weren't native to Europe at all. They arrived in Italy in the 1500s from the Americas, brought over by Spanish explorers. Initially, tomatoes were met with suspicion and thought to be poisonous due to their relation to deadly nightshade plants. It wasn't until the late 1700s that tomatoes became widely accepted in Italian cuisine, and people started experimenting with them on flatbreads. The game changer? Queen Margherita of Savoy in 1889. Legend has it that she wanted to try the local food while visiting Naples. A pizzaiolo named Raffaele Esposito crafted a special pizza in her honor, using tomato, red, mozzarella, white, and basil, green, to represent the colors of the Italian flag. She loved it, and thus the pizza margherita was born, sparking the dish's rise in popularity. What's even crazier is that pizza didn't become a global phenomenon until after World War II. American soldiers stationed in Italy during the war fell in love with it and brought the concept home, giving rise to the modern pizza industry we know today. From a street snack for the poor to an international sensation, pizza truly has a remarkable history. 2. Sushi. Sushi's history is far older than you might think, and its beginnings are entirely different from what we enjoy today. It started over 2,000 years ago in Southeast Asia as a preservation method. Fish was packed in fermented rice to prevent spoilage. The rice created an acidic environment that slowed bacterial growth, and the fish could be stored for months. Interestingly, people didn't eat the rice. They discarded it after the fermentation process. This method, called narazushi, spread to Japan, where locals refined it over centuries. By the 15th century, Japanese people began eating the rice along with the fish, giving rise to oshizushi, pressed sushi, where fish and rice were compacted into wooden molds. Sushi as we recognize it, fresh fish served atop vinegared rice, was developed in the early 19th century in Tokyo, then called Edo. A chef named Hanaya Yohei revolutionized the dish by creating nigiri sushi, which didn't require fermentation. Instead, he used fresh fish paired with rice seasoned with rice vinegar, making it a quick and delicious meal. This made sushi immensely popular among the busy Edo population, as it was essentially fast food at the time. One fun twist: sushi's rise to global fame didn't happen until the 20th century when California rolls, featuring avocado and imitation crab, and other Western-friendly variations were invented in the US. These creative rolls helped sushi appeal to a broader audience, transforming it into the global cuisine we know today. So, from ancient preservation technique to high-end dining, sushi has evolved through history while retaining its roots in rice and fish. 3. Croissant. The iconic crescent-shaped pastry that screams France actually has roots in Austria, not Paris. Its ancestor, the Kipferl, dates back to at least the 13th century in Austria. Kipferl were simple, crescent-shaped baked goods, often made from a denser dough and flavored with nuts or spices. The croissant's true origin story ties to a historic event, the Ottoman Siege of Vienna in 1683. As legend goes, Viennese bakers working late at night heard the Ottomans tunneling beneath the city walls and raised the alarm, helping to thwart the invasion. To celebrate, they created a pastry shaped like the crescent moon on the Ottoman flag, a symbol of their victory. But how did the Kipferl transform into the buttery, flaky pastry we know today? Enter Marie Antoinette, the Austrian princess who married King Louis XVIII of France in 1770. She introduced the Kipferl to the French court, where chefs began adapting it with French techniques. Over time, they used puff pastry dough, which involves layering dough with butter and folding it multiple times to create a light, airy texture. The croissant became a symbol of French patisserie, but its rise to everyday fame didn't occur until the 20th century. French cafes popularized it as the ultimate breakfast pastry, often paired with coffee. Today, croissants are enjoyed worldwide, with countless variations, from chocolate-filled pain au chocolat to almond croissants. Despite its transformation, the croissant's journey from Austria to France remains a delicious tale of cultural exchange. 4. Tacos. The taco is one of Mexico's most beloved dishes, but its roots stretch far back into ancient history. The word taco itself is believed to have come from 18th century Mexican silver miners. In mining, a taco referred to small explosive charges made by wrapping gunpowder in paper used to break apart rock. The miners saw a resemblance between these small charges and the rolled tortillas they carried for their meals, and the name stuck. But tacos existed long before this. Indigenous peoples in Mesoamerica were eating tortillas filled with various ingredients as far back as 500 BCE. These early tacos were a practical, portable way to eat while working. Instead of the modern fillings, they used native ingredients like beans, squash, and fish. One of the earliest written records of tacos comes from Bernal Diaz del Castillo, a Spanish conquistador who documented a feast hosted by Hernán Cortés in 1520. Indigenous people served tortillas filled with fish, and even the Spanish were impressed by the dish. Tacos evolved over time, reflecting Mexico's diverse regional cuisines. In the 19th century, tacos became popular street food in Mexico City, particularly among working-class people. Each region added its twist. Tacos al pastor, pork cooked on a spit, in central Mexico, fish tacos in Baja California, and barbacoa tacos, slow-cooked meat, in the countryside. Interestingly, tacos didn't gain international fame until Mexican immigrants brought them to the US in the early 20th century. The hard-shell taco was popularized by chains like Taco Bell in the 1960s, creating a more Americanized version of the dish. Today, tacos are a global phenomenon, but their essence remains the same: a simple yet brilliant way to combine bold flavors in a handheld form. 5. French fries. Despite their name, French fries are actually Belgian in origin, and the story begins in the late 17th century. In Belgium's Meuse Valley, locals would fry small fish as a staple food. However, during harsh winters when rivers froze over and fishing became impossible, they began slicing potatoes into thin strips and frying them as a substitute. These crispy golden potatoes became a beloved local dish. So why are they called French? The confusion likely stems from language and war history. During World War I, American soldiers stationed in Belgium encountered fries for the first time. Since French was the dominant language in the region, especially in the Belgian army, the soldiers mistakenly thought the dish was French and took the name home with them. Interestingly, the French also have their own claim to fries. Parisian street vendors were reportedly selling thinly sliced fried potatoes as early as the late 1700s, around the time of the French Revolution. These pommes frites were especially popular among the working class. Fast forward to the 20th century. French fries became a global sensation, particularly in the US. McDonald's played a massive role in popularizing fries worldwide, with their recipe for perfectly crispy fries turning them into a fast food staple. One fun twist? Belgium takes its fries so seriously that they have fry museums, and there's a heated debate with France over who truly invented them. In Belgium, fries are traditionally served in a paper cone with a variety of sauces, the most iconic being mayonnaise instead of ketchup. Whether Belgian or French, they've come a long way from their humble beginnings and are now one of the most universally loved comfort foods. 6. Chocolate. Chocolate's story begins over 4,000 years ago in Mesoamerica, the birthplace of the cacao tree. The Olmecs were among the first civilizations to cultivate cacao around 1500 BC. They used it primarily as a ceremonial drink, likely mixing ground cacao with water and spices like chili peppers. Later, the Maya and Aztecs made cacao central to their cultures. For the Maya, cacao was so revered that they considered it a gift from the gods and included depictions of cacao in their art and religious ceremonies. They prepared it as a frothy beverage, often with maize and chili, calling it cacao. It was consumed by the elite, warriors, and during rituals. The Aztecs took cacao's importance even further. They believed it was a divine substance bestowed by Quetzalcoatl, the god of wisdom. Cacao beans were so valuable that they were used as currency. You could buy a turkey for 100 beans. Aztec Emperor Montezuma was said to drink dozens of cups of zocolotl, a bitter spiced cacao drink, daily to boost his energy. The word chocolate comes from Nahuatl, the Aztec language, combining azoco, bitter, and atiel, water. When the Spanish arrived in the 16th century, they brought cacao back to Europe. Initially, Europeans found the bitter taste unappealing, but they transformed it by adding sugar, cinnamon, and milk. By the 17th century, chocolate had become a luxury item enjoyed by European aristocracy. It wasn't until the 19th century that modern chocolate emerged. Innovations like the creation of solid chocolate bars, thanks to companies like Fries in England, and milk chocolate, pioneered by Daniel Peter and Henri Nestlé in Switzerland, transformed chocolate into the sweet treat we love today. From a sacred ritual drink to a global indulgence, chocolate's journey through history is as rich and complex as its flavor. 7. Spaghetti! Contrary to popular belief, Marco Polo did not introduce pasta to Italy from China. While Polo did document noodles in China during his 13th century travels, Italians were already making pasta long before he returned home. In fact, the origins of spaghetti can be traced to the Arab world. Arabs brought a form of dried noodles, called itra, to Sicily during their conquest of the island in the 9th century. These early noodles were made from durum wheat, a crop well suited to the Mediterranean climate. The innovation of drying pasta made it easy to store and transport, which helped it spread throughout the Italian peninsula. The earliest written reference to Italian pasta comes from 1154, in the works of Arab geographer al-Idrisi, who described a thriving pasta industry near Palermo, Sicily. Locals produced long, string-like pasta called tria, a precursor to modern spaghetti. By the 14th century, pasta was becoming a staple in Italian diets, particularly in Naples. Spaghetti, named after the Italian word spago, meaning string, was one of the many shapes that emerged during this time. However, it was traditionally served without tomato sauce. Tomatoes didn't become part of the Italian kitchen until the late 16th century, after they were brought to Europe from the Americas. Even then, they were initially thought to be poisonous and used only as decorative plants. By the 18th century, southern Italians had embraced tomatoes, pairing them with pasta to create the beloved combination of spaghetti al pomodoro. Spaghetti gained international fame in the 19th and 20th centuries with the wave of Italian immigration to America. Italians brought their culinary traditions, and dishes like spaghetti and meatballs emerged as a uniquely Italian-American creation. Today, spaghetti is one of the world's most iconic foods, symbolizing the rich culinary heritage of Italy. Its journey from Arab traders to Italian tables and beyond showcases how cultures influence and enrich each other through food. 8. Bagels! The bagel is more than just a breakfast staple. It has a story deeply tied to Jewish culture and migration. Its origins trace back to 17th century Poland, where it was first crafted by Jewish communities. The earliest written record of bagels dates to 1610 in Krakow, where regulations mention them as a gift to women after childbirth. The iconic ring shape of the bagel wasn't just for aesthetics, it served a practical purpose. The hole in the center allowed bagels to be easily stacked on sticks or strings for transportation and sale, making them perfect street food for bustling markets. Their dense, chewy texture came from boiling the dough before baking it, a technique that helped preserve freshness, critical for those living in poverty or traveling. The bagel's shape also carried symbolic meaning. Some historians believe it represented the circle of life or eternity, tying it to blessings and celebrations. One charming legend suggests that the bagel was created to honor King John Sobieski III of Poland after his victory against the Ottoman Empire in 1683. Its circular design was said to mimic a stirrup, nodding to the king's cavalry skills. Bagels gained widespread popularity after Jewish immigrants brought them to the United States in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. By the early 1900s, bagels were a cornerstone of Jewish bakeries in cities like New York. The bagel and lox combo, often paired with cream cheese, emerged as an American classic in the mid-20th century, blending Jewish culinary traditions with local ingredients. Mass production of bagels began in the 1960s, thanks to the invention of the bagel-making machine by Murray Lender. This innovation made bagels a national phenomenon, no longer confined to Jewish neighborhoods. Today, bagels have traveled far beyond their Polish roots, with countless varieties, from sweet, cinnamon raisin, to savory, everything bagels. But their chewy texture and deep cultural significance remain unchanged, making them a timeless symbol of resilience and tradition. 9. Hot dog! The hot dog, an icon of American street food, has its roots in Germany and Austria, where sausage-making traditions date back centuries. The specific type of sausage used in hot dogs, Frankfurters, named after Frankfurt, Germany, and Wieners, from Vienna, Austria, were brought to America by German and Austrian immigrants in the 19th century. But here's the twist. The bun wasn't part of the original concept. In Europe, sausages were eaten on their own or with bread on the side. The pairing of a sausage inside a soft roll is a uniquely American innovation, born out of practicality. The most famous origin story of the hot dog bun involves Charles Feltman, a German immigrant who operated a pie wagon in Coney Island, New York, in the 1860s. Feltman started selling sausages and buns as a portable meal for beachgoers. By the early 1900s, hot dogs were a staple of Coney Island and began appearing at fairs and ballparks. Another legend credits Anton Feuchtwanger, a Bavarian vendor in St. Louis, who reportedly gave his customers buns to hold their sausages so they wouldn't burn their hands. The name hot dog is thought to have emerged in the late 19th century as a playful jab at the sausage's resemblance to Dachshund dogs, which were popular in Germany. A famous cartoon from the time depicted a vendor selling Dachshund sausages, and the term hot dog stuck. Hot dogs gained massive popularity at baseball games, thanks to vendors like Harry Stevens, who introduced them as a quick and affordable snack for fans. Fast forward to the 20th century, hot dogs became an American culinary icon, with regional variations like Chicago-style hot dogs, piled high with pickles, tomatoes, and celery salt. New York dogs, with sauerkraut and mustard, and chili dogs in the South. Today, hot dogs are celebrated globally, with gourmet and plant-based versions joining the traditional favorites. From humble German sausages to a staple of summer cookouts, the hot dog's journey is a delicious testament to culinary creativity. 10. Kimchi. Kimchi has been a cornerstone of Korean cuisine for over 2,000 years, but its early versions looked very different from what we recognize today. The word kimchi comes from the ancient Korean term chimchae, meaning soaked vegetables. Early kimchi was a simple form of pickled vegetables, mostly Napa cabbage or radish preserved in salt water to ensure food was available during harsh winters. The real evolution of kimchi began during the Three Kingdoms period, 57 BC to 668 AD, when fermented foods gained prominence due to their ability to preserve vegetables for long periods. As Korean agricultural techniques improved, so did the complexity of kimchi, with regional ingredients and flavors shaping its development. Interestingly, the signature spicy kick we associate with kimchi didn't exist until the 16th century, when chili peppers were introduced to Korea. These peppers were brought by Portuguese traders traveling through Japan and China. Koreans quickly adopted chili peppers into their cuisine, adding them to the fermentation process and creating the fiery red kimchi we know today. Kimchi became an integral part of Korean culture, not just as a food, but as a communal activity. The tradition of kimjang, the collective preparation of kimchi for the winter, became a major social event, bringing communities and families together. Even today, kimjang is recognized by UNESCO as an intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Kimchi is more than just a side dish. During Korea's tumultuous history, it symbolized resilience and identity. It was even sent to space in 2008 when astronaut Yi So-yeon requested a specially sterilized batch, making kimchi the first Korean food in space. With over 200 varieties, kimchi ranges from mild to spicy and includes diverse ingredients like seafood, pears, and ginger. It's not just a staple of Korean cuisine, it's a global phenomenon celebrated for its health benefits, rich history, and bold flavor. From ancient preservation methods to a cultural icon, kimchi's journey is as layered as its taste. And there you have it, 10 iconic foods with stories as rich and flavorful as the dishes themselves. From ancient preservation techniques to cultural exchanges that spanned continents, these foods remind us how history and tradition shape what's on our plates today. But this is just the beginning. Every dish has a story waiting to be told, and we've got plenty more to share. Love learning new, surprising facts like these? Hit that like button, share this video with your fellow foodies, and don't forget to subscribe for more bite-sized facts about the world's most fascinating stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.